the root sales. So if you are in the field and you are selling, we want to come and also guide you to use the device, because the issuance of the invoice should be in real time. For me, the buyer, when I have bought my items or goods, I want to be issued that invoice in real time, because I'm going to validate, is it fiscalized or not? Okay, so that is the Gazette, effective 1st of July. Or large taxpayers, medium taxpayers, and any other taxpayer whose turnover is 2 billion and above, and those who have 100 transactions, for you, you'll be using system to system. So we have already issued the Gazette, and we gave you from 15th up to 30th of June as a transitional period to organize yourself, to make sure that you integrate and come on board onto system to system.
Thank you, Hassan. You've been talking about invoice, yet at the beginning you told us EFRIS is electronic fiscal receipting and invoice. So for our viewers who may not know, what is the difference between an invoice and a receipt? Are they the same things? Are they different?
Thank you, Arita. For taxpayers, right now, the requirement to be on EFRIS is only for VAT registered taxpayers. So all VAT registered taxpayers are going to be issuing invoices, and they will be charging tax as required by the law. However, we have also seen taxpayers that are not VAT registered. Because of the advantages of EFRIS, we have seen these taxpayers coming on board to also be on EFRIS. So those ones will be issuing receipts, and the difference is on the receipt, we shall not have tax charged on that receipt. But whether you are VAT registered or not, you can onboard onto EFRIS.
Okay. You have shared the different platforms, the system to system, the portal, the desktop, and then you talked about more of the EFDs. If I'm interested and I want to be compliant, how do I access these EFDs? Where do I go to get them? Okay,
thank you, moderator. For EFDs, we have accredited a supplier. The supplier is Rank Consult. They are situated in industrial area. And you as the taxpayer, what you need to do is to go to your EFRIS account. You will find a menu called Device Management. So on that menu, Device Management, you will find a link, Apply for EFDs. So when you are making your application, you set the number of the devices you need. And once you make your application, the system will automatically notify the supplier, and the supplier will immediately contact you. And after you have made the payment, the devices are configured. And after the configurations, you can either pick the device from Rank Consult in industrial area, or the supplier can even deliver those devices to your premises.
Hassan, I'm still with you. How does it work? Because you've told us, this is a system which is meant to manage receipts and invoices, and it's automated. So just briefly, how does it work in a layman's language?
Thank you. Once you are set to invoice, or once you want to conduct a transaction on any of the platform, whether you are using system to system, whether you are using EFD, whether you are using the portal, once you initiate a transaction, the transactional details, like the seller's name, the buyer, the goods and service details, will be automatically relayed to URA. And that process of the transaction details being relayed to URA, that's what we are calling fiscalization. Though I think that word is technical, but the process of remitting those transaction details to URA is the fiscalization. And once URA receives those transactions, we attach that unique invoice number we attach the the QR code, the quick response code, such that you can scan and confirm, and after that, we transfer or we send back that information to you in real time. That's why we are saying the solution supports both online and offline, in real time. So I want to encourage all our viewers to make sure that you ask or you demand for fiscalized invoices or fiscalized receipts, because for you, you can only be sure that the seller has deducted tax from you, and that tax has been remitted to government once you have a fiscalized invoice. And government can only support us with infrastructure development once we have this revenue. So I want to encourage all our viewers to make sure that you demand for fiscalized invoices and receipts.
I'll come back to you and you share with us what a fiscalized receipt is. You want the viewers to start demanding for these receipts, but they need to know how do they look like. So if I go to a shop and I demand for it, Maya, who is mandated to use EFRIS? Can anyone use EFRIS, like my neighbor who sells tomatoes at a small mudala? Who is mandated to use the EFRIS solution?
Okay, thank you, Rita. Like Hassan had said earlier on, anyone can use EFRIS. It's just that the law has a framework for EFRIS implementation. And in that, it provides the Commissioner General with powers to gazette who is mandated. So we have a difference. That's how it comes up with the e-receipts and the e-invoices difference. So those who are mandated, as for now, Commissioner General gazetted all VAT registered taxpayers to be able to use EFRIS in all their dealings. And in these dealings, we have 3 categories. We have one, business to business. When you're giving another person, assume that the business has a TIN, so that is what we call business to business. We have business to government. We have also business to a final consumer who doesn't have a TIN. So if I'm like Sumaya and I'm going to any supermarket, I can be able to demand my EFRIS invoice. I only need to provide my legal name. And then they should be able to provide me with the EFRIS invoice. So that is who is mandated. And so far, moving forward, we are going to have for fuel transactions and other business settings. But for now, it's all VAT registered taxpayers.
All VAT?
Yes.
Registered tax businesses?
Businesses or taxpayers.
VAT registered
taxpayers, yes.
And for those who are not VAT registered?
They can still use EFRIS, because we know EFRIS has more than one importance. One of which is that the fact that we're coming up with a receipting campaign, clients are able to claim that the VAT they've paid as final consumers. We already have a running benefit of 5% if you purchase more than is it 5 million? 5 million in 30 days, yes, as a buyer.
Wow.
So if you get your invoice, it's easier for you to claim, but you have to have proof. And then also, as a business, we have noticed that some clients will give you a fake invoice. What EFRIS does, it gives you the validity to check and confirm your transaction. Is it valid? When I'm going to claim from URA refunds or in my import VAT, when I give them my EFRIS invoice, it should be valid. So EFRIS, even we have formed a validation functionality on they can Zoom. We have an app called Ask URA. Yes. Under Ask URA, there is Kakasa EFRIS. I think it's something like this. So they can either scan the QR code, which Hassan had said, or use the FDN, which is the fiscal document number on that invoice. It will give you back if something is valid, or if it's not valid, then they can go back to that person and say, well, you give me a wrong invoice, because we know a lot of fictitious sales are coming in from different clients. So yeah, that's even more than, because we are having pre-filled returns with VAT registered taxpayers. Yes, So when they are claiming their input VAT, all they have to do is just go to EFRIS and pick their reports and put in the return. You don't have to be so manual with the returns. Yes, and also it eliminates competition from your fellow person. If I want to be compliant and the next person is not compliant, and we are all VAT registered taxpayers, it's not fair if I am issuing and remitting VAT and this person is not. So if it caps that part, that everyone, once they collect VAT from the final consumer, that if it speaks and automatically they have to claim, to remit it to URI. So it bridges that gap of competition.
More on that, kindly take us through what is in it for the business and what is in it for the taxpayer. For the taxpayer, you have told us there is a rebate, as if I buy things more than
5 million.
5 million,
yes.
There is like a percentage I get.
Yes.
Could you elaborate more on that for the side of the taxpayer, and then you can also share with us what the businesses gain out of it, that if I'm not on EFRIS, what do I miss?
Okay, so when you're not on EFRIS, like we had said, the taxpayer, the 5%, that means that if I am giving out, if I go to purchase from supermarkets and I have exceeded my 5 million
in a month or
in 30
purchase?
Days.
In a month?
In a month.
If you have exceeded.
Yes.
In a month, in a period of 30 days.
That's a
which
month.
is a
That
month.
is a month. It can be a single purchase, or it can be several receipts, but put together,
And they exceed 5
I
million.
exceed 5 million in a
Yes.
period of 30 days.
days.
Yes.
So I collect my receipts and I bring them to URA. What's the procedure there?
Okay, because it's already automated, so we initiate the conversation and tell you, hey, you qualify to have a 5% refund based on your transactions. But that means that clients have to have, when they are giving their details to the person who they are buying from, they should give the details of their phone numbers to be able to communicate with us, so that URA can be able to know who to contact if we can't contact just based on the legal name. So they have to be very vigilant and detailed when they're giving their details. And as on the side of a business, if URA is giving you back 5% of your VAT paid, that allows you to have more cash flows for your business. So it's like a
this rebate is for taxpayers, okay, like registered taxpayers already with URA, or any person.
This
any
rebate
public.
is for anybody who has purchased.
Anybody.
Anybody,
Yes.
provided one, on your receipt, URA can identify that yes, it is fiscalized, number one. Number two, it is Hassan.
Yes.
Okay, because that reward is for you. Okay, so that receipt, you need to make sure you as the buyer that we can uniquely identify that yes, this is your receipt and the benefit is going to you.
Okay. I recently went to a supermarket and I demanded for a fiscalized receipt, and they told me to give them my TIN. Is it a requirement that for taxpayers or the general public going to supermarkets or any shop which is registered and you want to buy stuff, once you demand for this fiscalized receipt, should you give them your TIN?
Okay.
Is it mandatory, Hassan?
Thank you. For all our viewers, Sumaya said that we have what we call categories. There's what we call business to business. Now, business to business means one company or one business transacting with each other. So because for them they're interested in claiming, okay, a TIN is necessary to be captured on that transaction.
Okay.
But there's also another category called business to final consumers. That it is me, Hassan, walking into, for example, supermarket X to purchase some items. So in that case, I might not remember my TIN. or I might not remember my national ID. Okay? But it is a requirement for that supermarket to issue me with a fiscalized invoice, because one, I will give them either my name or my telephone number as a way of identification. So a TIN for that category is not a requirement. So I think after the show, we can discuss and share the specifics of that supermarket.
And you can enforce.
It is not a requirement for that category.
Okay. Yes. Maya, you are still taking us through what is in it for the businesses.
Okay. So the businesses, there's also the issue of compliance. When URA or when the Commissioner General gazettes one, and you fall under a certain category as gazetted, for example, if your business is VAT registered and you have been gazetted to use EFRIS in your dealings, and you still go ahead and not
use it.
Yes, not use it. We have a penalty for each invoice. Each invoice that will pass through your system when it's not fiscalized amounts to over 6 million Ugandan shillings penalty. So if we have 10 invoices, that means that's 60 million. So to reduce on costs of compliance, it's best to comply. And then you also as well benefit from all the other benefits. And as a business, EFRIS is one of the benchmarks we use to give out tax benefits to businesses. We have the withholding tax exemptions, which we base on to give you. If you have been compliant with EFRIS, then you can well qualify to be on withholding exemptions. And as well TCCs, issuing TCCs, tax payer credit
certificate and tax credit certificates.
Tax credit certificates, yes.
Oh, okay. Hassan, I'm back to you. EFRIS has been around 2020. That was when the Gazette came out, and you started enforcing in 2021. Can you just take us through the evolution of this system? And then you talked more about for the benefits of the taxpayer that you're automating and you know, helping them to organize and manage their invoices. But what's in it also for government and as URA? Just take us through the evolution of this system, and also what does URA or government stand to gain?
Okay, thank you. We started the EFRIS with a pilot, a pilot phase. We started in May 2020, but after series of engaging various taxpayers, because the EFRIS you are seeing, I think 70% are ideas from taxpayers. So we engage the taxpayers, we pick their requirements, because generating invoices with so many taxpayers with various business models is quite complicated. So we had to understand their business first. So through that whole exercise, we were able to design the system, and after designing the system, we went into a pilot phase that we conducted for a period of 2 months.
Who are these taxpayers you piloted with?
And I think there were over 60 taxpayers, and it was a voluntary exercise. Over 60 taxpayers
in different
sectors.
Okay.
So after conducting a successful pilot, because in the pilot phase we are testing many parameters, the volume of invoices, can we handle the uniqueness of the business, of the various business models. So after conducting that successful pilot phase, then we went into the live environment. That was on the 1st of July 2020. But when we went into the live, there are many taxpayers that approached URA. That they are willing to comply. They had understood EFRIS was a very good thing, but we were not ready. And through our good Commissioner General, listened to them and gave them an extension of 3 months period. That was from 1st of July to September. So the 3 months was meant for them to prepare and come on board. So after the 3 months, also I think some taxpayers through the UMA umbrella, also I think they were not ready. And through that organization, they also came to the Commissioner General for another extension. And our good commissioner listened to them again and gave them an additional 3 months extension up to December. So after December, we switched on to EFRIS on the 1st of January 2021. But because there was that learning curve, URA didn't start even enforcement. So URA gave, I think, a blanket, a grace period of up to October. Yes, yes, October. Such that people can come on board, people can resolve challenges that they have. So from January up to October, okay, it was a grace period. Come on board, there was no enforcement. So URA started enforcement and also a system validation checks. For example, if you are claiming input tax is that if I'm a VAT registered taxpayer and I've been charged VAT, I'm entitled to claim for my VAT. So we started even enforcing that check on the system in December for the month, for the return of November.
Okay.
Then also other checks, we kept on bringing them on board and also enforcing. And the famous deployment to our, I think, our friends in the supermarkets, because for them, the supermarket business was unique. They had many products, so we had to handhold them. So we started enforcing on
with
them.
Supermarkets.
Yes, supermarkets, because for them we had given them time, we had trained them, we had handheld them. So that's when we started enforcing from, I think, from November. From November, yes. But we have also now been engaging and also enforcing on other sectors because we believe that one, we've given our taxpayers ample time to
and you've
prepare
engaged,
for,
so
yes.
it's not that you just sat back in your offices, dreamt of a system and dumped it on the taxpayers.
Exactly.
You've been engaging with these taxpayers, you've been working out solutions to better their businesses. So whoever's saying that you did not engage, it's not right.
Yes, and also I just want to add something small that during the pilot phase and also the first rollout, we had COVID. And COVID, with this solution, we had to think of better ways of reaching to our taxpayers, training them, okay? So we developed online trainings. People were training online. Those that we could meet physically while observing SOPs, we did that. But we also went ahead to develop what we call learning or self-learning videos. And we uploaded these videos onto the portal. Somebody can now go to the EFRIS portal under user guide and download a video on how do I generate a fiscalized invoice. So from the comfort of your phone, you can even learn how to generate that invoice. How do I stock in? How do I access reports? From the comfort of your phone, from the comfort of your home.
Okay.
So that is the journey. Then on the side of the benefits, yes, this is a two-way thing. From before EFRIS, URA would rely on taxpayers' declaration, and it had disadvantages and advantages. But with EFRIS, you as the taxpayer, before even URA comes, you know that these are my transactions. So it is easy. So I cannot come and say you have tax of 5 million, yet you don't have it. So everything is in what? Is in the
very
open.
Transparent.
Very transparent. So before I come, you even know that this is my liability. Okay? Some taxpayers, even before, they were not able to know how many invoices and how much tax they are supposed to pay. Now with EFRIS, they are able to know in real time that I've generated 9 invoices and my tax is 5 million, and they're able to plan accordingly on how to pay that money.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Dear viewers, we are on our live tax lounge where we bring you experts and they dissect specific tax issues or questions. On today's live tax lounge, I have 3 experts from the Domestic Taxes Office, and they are cutting down what EFRIS is. What is it? What is the system? How does it work? Who is eligible? What are the benefits? We are live on Zoom. We are also live on our URA TV YouTube page. We are also live on our Facebook page. It's URA page. Kindly go in there and send in your questions. I'm already seeing questions coming in, and very shortly our 3 experts are going to be answering them in real time. But before we start answering your questions, I am going to ask Beatrice, our manager enforcement, to take us through the new developments of the system. What's new, Kapiachi?
Thank you, Rita. What's new is the Gazette, the system to system. On 7th April, this 2022, the Commissioner General gazetted taxpayer categories that are supposed to use the system to system invoicing method of issuing invoices. And in that, following the Gazette, there was also a public notice that was issued on the 10th of May,
Okay.
Stating the grace period, the transition period, within which the taxpayer is required to organize and get on board onto system to system. So the deadline for this is 30th June.
This month.
This month. It's
Okay.
unfortunate for me, I have to keep talking about the deadlines and the enforcement bit of it. So from 1st July 2022, every taxpayer that was gazetted under the system to system invoicing solution or method of issuance should be ready to issue receipts using the system.
It's mandatory.
That means that the other solution, you will not be able to access the portal or the other options because you're expected to use this. So in the criteria for that Gazette, majorly 3, like Hassan mentioned, we have taxpayers that have those taxpayers that have ERP systems, because it's easy for them to connect to our system. EFRIS is open to all the ERP, the billing systems that the taxpayers have.
Okay.
So that category is supposed to be on system. Then the second category is taxpayers that have a turnover of 2 billion and above. And as earlier mentioned, majorly covering large taxpayers, medium taxpayers, plus the other taxpayers that have that turnover bracket. They're supposed to be on system to system.
Okay.
Then the last category is the number of transactions, 100 transactions and above, even if you're less than 2 billion. So such categories, what we've done after the public notice on 10th May, we have written to all of them. We are engaging them. We are hand-holding them. We are helping them to get on board. The way to get on board has already been mentioned. You either, if you have an in-house developer system with your IT team, they can get in touch with our IT team, and we are giving all that support. It's free of charge. If you do not have your own invoicing system, then you
Wait
go...
a minute, you've said
Yes.
you're helping taxpayers.
Yes,
you know, to
providing
connect.
that support.
How do they get to us? Through our WhatsApp line, or do they walk into our offices?
Yes, we have the WhatsApp lines, even the contact center. However, as I earlier mentioned, we have written to all of them and given them specific communications and whom to get in touch with. They have the CRMs in their tax offices, plus segment administrators under EFRIS. Like she's a segment administrator for
CRM
large
is,
client relationship managers.
Oh, okay.
So each of the offices have client relationship managers.
so you have reached out to them?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And also we have segment administrators, like she's one for LTO. She has been engaging directly with the clients, telling them, hand-holding them, connecting them to our IT team.
Okay.
So we are doing a lot of engagement in this period, and our viewers, in case you're there and you still need this support, through your tax offices, we are giving this support up to 30th June. Because come first, we shall switch off the portal. And you'll not be able to issue the invoice through the option that is available right now on the portal. You'll be required to use your platform. So that is new. It's actually what is on right now. And taxpayers have been engaging us. They have written to us. We are responding to their queries, and we are supporting them to onboard. That's one of the areas that are new. Then another is what was earlier mentioned about the route sales.
Okay.
The domestic goods that are in transit and the route sales. We realize that portion of business has over time not been looked at. It's hard to fiscalize because when you're sending goods from the factory and you're doing door-to-door sale, you may not be sure about whom your client will be, whom you'll find to buy from you. That's why the EFD option, the EFDs comes into handy for you to be able to issue a real-time invoice or receipt at that point of sale. Okay. So that is also new. So there is that public notice that we also issued on the 20th of May, telling the public to ensure that they issue invoices using the current platforms, but also acquire these EFD machines to be able to issue a real-time receipt to a client whom you cannot predetermine from the point of from July to December of this year. So taxpayers, it's one of the on the checklist for qualifying under the withholding tax exemption. It is one of the parameters that we are looking at, whether you're compliant under EFRIS, if you're VAT registered. So I would like to just encourage the public and the people who are VAT registered that as you request for the tax benefits, ensure that you're compliant with EFRIS, and if you have any challenges through your tax office, we are ready to give you the support. It's not in our interest as URA to keep enforcing on you. We want to work together and build a better compliance base than using force, although I'm the manager enforcement.
Absolutely. Thank you, Beatrice. Yes. I'm seeing questions coming in, but before we get into the questions, what is that special appeal you are giving out to our taxpayers, to the general public? If you can give us a kakatalekeka, what's the appeal?
Okay, to the general public, to our viewers, our dear viewers who are listening in to us and taxpayers, we encourage you that as you make your purchases, kindly demand for a fiscalized receipt. And I think we need to show them how a fiscalized receipt looks like. Such that as you purchase, you are the #1 enforcement agency for this solution. You are a partner with the government in ensuring that this revenue that is being collected from you reaches its destination. So we really encourage you as you purchase to request for the fiscalized receipts such that the VAT that you pay reaches the government treasury. And then also, as I earlier mentioned, if you're under the system-to-system gazette, kindly comply such that you're not caught up by the deadline. And then also the people that those that need the tax benefits, ensure that you're compliant with EFRIS. When you're compliant, the cost of compliance becomes easy because the penalties are really punitive. The 6 million per receipt, I think, is even bigger than the VAT that is on that receipt. So it's not called for. You should just be compliant and ensure that you receive the services that you need quickly without any inconvenience. That's what I had for our viewers to be ready for what's coming.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. There is a question here from R. Wamala. He's asking, kindly throw more light on the 5% refund on the 5 million purchases when one uses EFRIS. I think you gave light on that, Hassan. Then there is Anonymous. Anonymous says, so if I have my receipts, but they did not request for my telephone number, how can I claim for that reward? People are already interested in this reward.
I know it's really
people are already interested. He's anonymous.
You can answer
like 3.
So far, these are the ones that are in.
Anonymous, thank you for participating. Now, for any refund, because this is government money, so URA needs to be sure that we are giving this money or we are refunding this money to the person entitled to receive this money. And that's why we are telling you that when you go to purchase, ensure that one, you either give your TIN or your national identification number or your telephone number to make sure that you help or you ease the process of identification to make sure that we don't refund Hassan, yet that refund belonged to Rita.
To Rita.
Yes.
Okay. Probably kindly show us what a fiscalized receipt looks like.
Okay.
What are the key features I should look out for when I go to a supermarket or when I demand for a receipt? I need to know what are those key things I should look out for as a buyer.
There are only 3.
Do you,
Okay. I don't know whether we can see. The first one is what we are calling I don't know that my cameraman can see, but the first one is what we are calling the fiscalized document number.
which you call the
FDN, which for you can call the invoice number. So it is this one, and it is a 20-digit figure or a 12-digit figure. If it is online, it is 12. If it is offline, it is a 20-digit number. So that is the URA invoice number.
Okay.
So which we are calling the FDN, the fiscal document number. Then the second aspect is what we are calling the verification code.
Verification.
Now the verification code is like a serial number of that invoice. In the event that probably somebody printed or you can't see very well the FDN, you can use the verification code to get the FDN.
Yeah.
And the last feature that you should look for is what we are calling the QR code, the quick response code. QR means quick response. This one. And this one you can scan using your phone. You can scan using the Ask URA app. And when you scan, you will be able to confirm that this invoice is fiscalized or not. Now, as a point of caution, okay? Please, when you scan, you also need to pay attention, or when you validate the FDN, you need to pay attention to the details of the invoice. Because I might have a valid FDN, but probably there is a mufere out there who just got that FDN and just pressed it on an invoice. So if you have purchased items worth 5 million, please confirm that when you validate, when you scan, your invoice value is 5 million. Please also confirm that those are the goods that you have purchased. Okay? So my appeal is make sure that you demand for a fiscalized invoice, because that is the only way you can confirm that the money that has been deducted for you as tax has been remitted to the tax body, and therefore you will also be able to get a better road. Okay, in Chanamukaka, in Chariwajara, in Namugongo, in Guru. So the only way you can confirm that that supplier has deducted money and that money will be remitted by asking for a fiscalized receipt. Thank you.
Okay. This is Ivan Dan. He's asking, which Shell stations can they get fiscalized invoices? Do you have specific petrol stations that offer fiscalized invoices?
Okay, thank you, Ivan. I want to confirm to Ivan that all select shops or all shops within the petrol station area or space, and they are VAT registered, they should be issuing fiscalized invoices. And we have engaged them. And what I know is that they must be issuing fiscalized invoices, because I think they had challenges with the system supplier, and we engaged them, and they must be issuing fiscalized invoices as I talk now. But you have raised this point. It seems where you went, they are not. If you can help us and give us the branch, then we can send our teams to verify and also find out, maybe they have a challenge, and we sort it out. But they must be issuing fiscalized invoices.
Okay, thank you. This one is Comfort Engineering. He's seeking for advice on invoice that deals in both goods and services, whereby on the invoice you supply the goods and at the same time offer service, let's say installation.
Okay, it's called who?
Comfort Engineering.
Okay, thank you, Comfort. Now, the fiscalized invoice under section D, goods and service, you'll find that it allows you to add as many items as possible. You can add goods on the same invoice, you can also add services. And we can take up to 1,000 line items. So you can prepare one invoice, and that invoice has up to 1,000 items.
Okay.
So Comfort Engineering, you can generate one invoice, put goods, and also installation services. So I don't know whether he has a challenge in doing it or in preparing that invoice. If he has a challenge, probably I would advise that Comfort Engineering, you can contact any nearest URA office. They will be able to support you, or you can contact our call center through the toll-free line. They will also be able to support you. Then we also have a fully-fledged team, the EFRIS team, that management has put aside to make sure that we attend to all your queries. We support you to make sure that the onboarding process is seamless. So please feel free to contact the URA team to make sure that you get all the support that is needed. Thank you.
Okay, there is anonymous attendee. How many TIN numbers should an ERP use? Beatrice.
Numbers, ERP use. I would relate that to the number of transactions.
No, I think it is in terms of the taxpayer. Is it configuration?
Configuration of a
You
system.
can take it
Okay.
up.
Okay, let me take it up because I think it is more of technical. Now, when you are generating this invoice, for us, we know you as the seller.
Okay.
Okay? So if you are Comfort Engineering, okay, when you are doing system to system, we want to recognize that this is Comfort Engineering. And all the transactions that are coming through that device, through that system to system connection, for us we shall know that those are transactions of Comfort Engineering. So if you have other businesses, would also require you to come and also integrate, okay, or log in if you are using the portal or if you are using the device. We want you to identify yourself as a seller or as business X, such that when we are coming to have your transactions, then we know that these transactions are for Comfort Engineering, and these ones are for Rita. These ones are for Beatrice. Then also it becomes easy when it comes to return pre-filling. Okay? We know that these transactions, these sales are for Comfort Engineering. These ones are for Hassan Enterprise. These purchases relate to Comfort Engineering. These purchases relate to Hassan Enterprises.
Okay.
So in terms of logging in terms of connecting, you can connect as many teams as possible. But the most important thing is when you are connecting, when you are logging onto the EFRIS system, you log on using that specific TIN.
Okay.
So it is TIN specific.
Yes.
Is Harriet Kandia or Chandia? What we make less than 20 sales in a month. Is it still okay for us to use the portal to generate the invoices? Hassan, you can.
From the Gazette of the Commissioner General that was released on the 7th of April and the subsequent public notice. The criteria for further system had 3 and they're all mutually exclusive, like each is a standalone. So if you have 20 transactions, I may have 20 transactions, but I'm managing a portfolio of 2 billion and above. ideally with such a business weight of business, there should be a system that you're using to manage. I may issue only 20 transactions, however, I'm across maybe a